Perfect. Thank you, everybody. For those who are able to attend, it's great. My name is Ken Ewanchuk. I'm a Local 121 trustee. I actually work at Local 415, which is South Health Campus in the Emergency Department. I would like to start off with a Treaty 7 land acknowledgement. In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, which is the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Lajaxi Nakota Nations, the Métis Nation of Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. So welcome and thank you everyone for attending for the members of Local 121 Rocky General Hospital and celebrating each other for Nurses Week. I'd like to take a moment for the trustees to each introduce themselves. I've introduced myself already, Ken Ewanchuk. Karen?
Yeah, I'm Karen Craig, Secretary Treasurer of United Nurses of Alberta. And my home local is 115, but I'm a trustee of Local 121, and I want to welcome everybody here from the local. I know you've had a hard time with COVID. It's been stressful, but just know that the trustees are here for you and you need to take care of yourselves. So this is part of what Nurses Week is about, and this is why we have invited Linda to come to just give you some upbeat. No local business today, which is good. I can't present a budget. Sad for me.
That's really good.
Yeah, but anyway, I hope you enjoyed this evening.
Thank you, Karen. Susan?
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Susan Fisk. I work at the PLC and I'm a trustee and South Central District Rep. Happy Nurses Week, everyone.
Thank you, Susan. Joanne?
Hi, it's Jo Rhodes. I am a trustee. I work at HealthLink, Local 211, but I have a long history with Rocky View.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joanne. Anne Marie?
Hi, I'm Marie Aiken. My home local is Local 228, which is the Claresholm Center for Mental Health and Addictions. I am a South Central District Rep and I am a trustee. Sorry for my attire. I just came in from outside. I've been doing yard work all day because I live on a farm. Anyways, welcome, and I hope you guys have had a good Nurses Week so far, and I hope you enjoyed this evening.
Perfect. Thank you, Marie. And as Marie and then Karen was hinting to, as trustees for Local 121, we really want to say thank you for being such an amazing group of people. And it's incredible to represent each and every one of you as members of UNA. And each time we speak with each member of Local 121, it really consistently reminds us of why we enjoy being part of UNA. Reminding UNA is 30,000 plus members, and of which 1,500 basically work at the Rocky View General Hospital. Sorry, Karen, I did have one plug for UNA though. I did want to mention the provincial campaign, neednurses.ca. And if you've not seen any of these spotlights on nurses, please go to the neednurses.ca website to view information being distributed via social media to as many Albertans as possible. And if you have not and if you'd like to, please sign up and send a message to the government that nurses are needed each hour of every day. And before we start, I did just want to spend a minute explaining how this presentation will proceed and how we'll get best from it. Thank you very much, Susan. I think that's Susan with the sign there for the do not pull the plug on public health care. I think we've had, if you want to get a sign, contact the local trustees and we'll send you some sort of link if we can get one to you. This is going to be via Zoom. I'm going to hand it over to Linda in a minute or two here. I just want to remind everybody if we could hit mute on our screens so that background noises are interrupting the presentation. And for people not to record this, as it is being recorded already, and it will be sent out to the membership for those people who weren't able to come in for today. We'll be sending it out so they can view it at their time and pleasure and have an enjoyment bevy when they want to and just watch what we're presenting. Now I'd like to introduce Linda Edgecombe. Linda Edgecombe is a resiliency expert, motivational coach, and a proud disruptor of the status quo. Linda is an internationally renowned award-winning speaker. She is just included in the top 60 motivational speakers in the world by the Hunger to Succeed resources. In 2012, she was inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame. Linda is a mother of two and a wife of one. Featured in the Wall Street Journal as an expert in shifting people's perspectives on their work and home life. Linda is an author of several books and has been invited to speak across the globe, inspiring people to simply choose a slice of the planet. She has been presented with the Humanitarian of the Year award twice in the last 4 years. Most recently, Linda took her own advice and ventured out on a solo trip across 800 kilometers in northern Spain, which led her to write her latest book, Breaking Busy, Finding Peace in the Chaos. Linda's message is as welcome as a good belly laugh and as profound as an honest look in the mirror. Get ready to be energized. Please welcome from Kelowna, BC, Linda Edgecombe. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you for that introduction that I wrote. It makes it sound like it's third person, but I wrote it. I'm proud to say that everything on it is the truth. And the only reason I can actually say I'm proud to say that everything on it is the truth is because those are just the highlights. I have a lot of lowlights. I'm a very human person, and a lot of dark with a lot of light, whatever. I am not a nurse. Over the last 3 decades, as being a professional speaker, I've spoken to the largest group of people is people in nursing. And my favorite audience of all time, I can hardly wait to be in front of people again, because you laugh and you need to laugh. And I love your senses of humor, because I can kind of go myself to the dark side if I, lots of times I'm told, oh, keep it, they're kind of conservative. Whereas in nursing, the first time I spoke to a group of nurses, they were emergency room nurses, by the way, their association in British Columbia. And I asked, so how left of center can I take my humor? And the lady who booked me, she goes, go so far left that you're right. I said, okay, I can just get at her. Anyway, so let's celebrate the Nurses Week. In the chat, just because we're a small mighty group here, can you just tell me what's the best thing for yourself about being a nurse? Just get chatting up. I want to do a fairly interactive presentation. And if we have time at the end, I'll do some Q&A, but we maybe don't need to. But I just love to find out what's been the best thing about being a nurse. Maybe just
so anybody who's not used to Zoom, if you go down to the bottom, on there's a chat button, and make sure that you can do it to everyone, like to all attendees. And you can just enter your comments into chat so that Linda can see your chat comments. Yeah. It's important for Linda to see that.
The people who you work with, your patients. My daughter wanted to become a doctor. By the way, my daughter, I'm talking about Josie, was born at Rocky View, which I always, and that's 23 years ago, almost 24 years ago. I called Rocky View the Rocky View Hotel because it was so nice. And I don't know if any of you worked at Rocky View, but the ladies who worked in maternity made decorative hats because she was born 3 minutes to Halloween, helping people who are most vulnerable of lifelong learning. That is for sure. Thank you. Thank you. So no, I am not a nurse, although I was born to a nurse. This is my mom, Ardith Peterson, then became Ardith Deckert. And she actually was trained in Calgary and ended up working in Prince George. And then again at Charles Camsell Hotel Fulfillment, the gift during a time. Thank you for keep typing in there. It's great. So she worked, Prince George and then Charles Camsell in Edmonton. And man, she was feisty. Even, she's now since passed, but even when she was in palliative care, she was 50 pounds wringing wet then, and was still telling the nurses, I go, she used to be a nurse. They go, I get it. Okay, I get it. Anyways, let's get rolling. What I'd like you to do with me for the next hour, since how you've signed up, you're here, and I appreciate it. And if you're watching this recorded, same thing, while you watch this, please, please, please be really, really curious. And I think the biggest message I could tell anybody during this crazy flipping experience that we're all going through, and you guys, I mean, gosh, pom-poms to you, the pressure that you've been under. And because if we kick into the opposite of curious is judgment. And I want you to, if I say something or if something else is said and it triggers you and you have a reaction to it, try to go to a curiosity frame of mind and ask yourself, why is that bugging me right now? So if we can change and go from curiosity, lead with curiosity and less fear, we will come through this with a much more inspired mindset. And I always say, so stay at the reason there's a hot air balloon in this picture is because I want you to stay at the 30,000 foot level of life. Up here where there's, anything's possible, I want you to get back to a place, because I know exhaustion has made it really tough to stay creative and curious and all those sort of lighter kinds of frames of mind. but I want you to try and just practice going back up to the 30,000 foot level when the next time you're in a plane, if you're ever back in a plane. And you know this, if you get the window seat and you're looking down on the planet, we go, oh boy, we get philosophical. When I get home, boy, I'm going to change this, this, and this. And of course, when the rubber hits the road, we go back to being exactly who we've always been. But for this hour, I want you to stay at the curiosity level. So ask you, this is a flow chart. This is a photo that I took driving down the Highway 97 here in Kelowna, where I live, and born and raised in Edmonton, but this is actually a stationary company, and I love the flow chart. So it says, are you happy? Yes, great. Keep doing what you're doing. Are you happy? No. The key to the whole flow chart is, do you want to be happy? And of course, people go, well, of course I want to be happy. And I say, well, if we all wanted to be happier, we'd probably change the stories we keep telling over and over and over and over. And if you ever thought about this, why do you gather your good friends that you have? Have you ever thought about, like, why do I gather the people around me? We gather the people around us because they always support our case. Oh, you're right. Oh, I agree with you, right? But what does a really, really good friend do? They also say, you know what? I have heard this story for the last 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, some of us 2 decades. Do something about that. Roll that sucker out, do something about it, or stop talking about it. Do you want to be happy? Yes. Well, then change something. Now, we've been in forced change for so long, we can't even handle one more little. But all I'm asking you to do, this for you personally right now, not the work that you do, but you personally in your life, outside of work, move the dial just slightly. And I'm going to offer up a whole bunch of ideas, strategies. We're going to do a couple of audits on ourselves. I mean, real simple stuff. Don't worry. I'm not going to put your heart on your sleeve and tell the world what's going on. No. But if nothing else, be honest with yourself in your own head. Move the dial just slightly. You don't have to turn yourself inside out like a snake. And if you do it, just move the dial slightly, over the next 2 weeks, you'll be in a different trajectory, let alone by the time we come through this and whatever that's going to look like. I think I'll be naked running in the streets when I can. But anyways, all right. So in the chat, now you can also, by the way, if you're not used to Zoom, in the chat, you can privately message me so I can just see it, or you can keep it public. But I think it's really great. It's really great to put stuff out there, because we all have thoughts in our heads. Very few of us ever write them down, and even fewer of us ever actually tell other people. And when we do that, things just kind of start to happen. It's almost like almost magic, but it's not. So if you could describe, I can predict right now what you're going to put down. If you could describe in one word that I've listed here on this: excited, engaged, grounded, tired, frustrated, worried, exhausted. Okay, maybe 2 words in the chat. How are you feeling sitting here Thursday afternoon? I don't know if it's sunny in Southern Alberta. It's very sunny in Kelowna today. Worried, exhausted. I really want to see. We're a small group, so express yourself, please. Tired, grounded. I can't imagine you not being exhausted. I just can't. Engaged. There you go, Helen. Well, you should be teaching this. Right? Oh, anyways, the truth is, honestly, other than, this is what's funny to me, and I've been doing virtual presentations since last August, lots of them. Other than the Turf Managers Association of Western Canada, basically, the people who work on golf courses, they are all like grounded, engaged, excited. Their numbers were really high off the charts. And I'm going, wow, because mostly everybody's been exhausted, tired, and worried, right? They go, well, that's because we work outside every day, Linda. I go, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. Of course it does. Okay. So how are you really doing considering all the stuff you've got on your plates right now? Right? Most common answer if someone's walking down the aisle, good morning, how are you doing? We most commonly will reply, fine, thank you. Fine, 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 fine. But the truth is, and I thought when COVID hit last March 13th, I actually thought to myself, oh my God, I've been talking about busyness, distraction, and overwhelm for most of the last 8-9 years, that focus. And I thought, I'm not gonna have anything to talk about because everybody's just going home, hunkering down, working from home. I'm going, no, actually we've gotten busier. Literally the most common response to the how are you doing question is busy, 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 holy crap, am I busy? It's like we've doubled down on busyness, distraction, and being overwhelmed. And busy has become actually the most common response, fine and okay, have become number 2. And, for the longest time, it was a badge of honor to say busy, because when you say, oh, I'm so busy, I got this going on, this going on, this going on, people respond with, wow, that's amazing. How do you do it? You must hear, as nurses, you must hear, oh my gosh, pom-pom heroes, heroes, heroes. How do you do it? And when we hear that, because we're exhausted, it's feeding our ego. It's not lifting our spirit. It's not going to a place that literally brings us joy. And so I wrote a book called Breaking Busy, Finding Peace in the Chaos a few years ago after I walked the Camino. And in the book, I was asked to do a TED Talk on the book. And when you do a TED Talk, the franchise people at TED want you to have some real research. They said, not just Linda Edgecombe's opinion research, go and give us some other examples of what busyness is doing to us. So I found a researcher out of the University of Virginia. Timothy Wilson is his name. He had done this experiment with adults to bring adults into a room by themselves, and no windows, no nothing, just a plain room, no devices allowed, that kind of thing. And he said, just sit there for 20 minutes, then come out and tell me how you felt. And he also had a way out early if you wanted. He had a box on the table attached to a battery with a little buzzer on it, and you had to zap yourself, and it gave you a shock, and it hurt, but it didn't harm you. Over 85% of the people who zap themselves to get out early, he says, and he goes, and the only people who stayed in the room for the whole 20 minutes were women. So that's a whole other workshop, maybe another TED Talk. But what he concluded is, he said, we'd rather harm ourselves than be alone with our own thoughts. That's how bored we've become. That's why we look and we look and we look and we look and we look. And probably most of you are reading emails and doing other work or catching up on work while you're listening to me at the same time. And you check 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 and you realize, no likes, no nothing, nobody wants me. Right? If you have not seen the documentary on Netflix, The Social Dilemma, watch it. Just watch it. And if you do nothing else from that, after watching it, even if you don't watch it, just do this. For a couple of days, take all notifications off your phone. All notifications, and you watch how quiet it gets. I mean, you can still check, but you're not going to check anywhere near as much because it's completely controlling us. So that was Timothy Wilson. Then I found this piece of information from the World Health Organization that said, this one study that they've done, that said the average young person today, so we're talking grade 11, grade 12, first, second year university, we know the anxiety and the stress that they are feeling. And now, massive. The average young person today is experiencing the same levels of anxiety, self-imposed anxiety, as the average psych patients did who were actually on the wards in the hospitals in the 60s. And that particular study went on to talk about that the energy that they're getting that from is not from their devices. Well, it was a small bit from their devices, but the majority of that energy was coming from their parents. And I have 2 20-year-olds. And when I read that piece of research, that's probably now 3 years ago when I was writing the book, I went, oh my gosh, this is me. I mean, I am a on stage razzmatazz motivational speaker, for God's sake. And I had 2 very anxious young people in my household. My husband's a very driven business guy. And I thought, if that's me, how did I become this cranky, angry, overweight, crazy woman? Like, I was screaming at my kids to get on a bus in the morning. I mean, what's that? How's that to send up your children? But I could get on stage and tell the people, be positive. Full of crap, hypocrite. That's what I was. And I said to myself, I had to figure this out, because I just couldn't be this person, a hypocrite on stage anymore, let alone help my children, my daughters. Oh, someone's got a puppy. Oh my gosh, so do I, but mine's in my car. Well, the windows are rolled down, don't worry. Anyways, I went looking for, things that could help me save some time, take back some time. And I found a couple of products. You're gonna love this first one. It's called the Bathe and Brew Shower Coffee Maker Soap Dispenser. It says, cut your morning routine in half. I said, oh my God, I took this picture in a coffee shop of this product. Yeah, you can finally take cream with your conditioner. Like, it's just crazy. And there's probably about 2 or 3 of you is going, yeah, that's great. If you think that time-saving device is great, look at this one. It's called the Wine Rack. See, now you can work out and drink at the same time. Heck, you could be working on a Zoom meeting and what, anyways, just a bit of humor there. Oh, by the way, if there's, I know there's, Ken's on the call. There's one also called the Beer Belly, but it just holds more volume. So if you want to get, I do own one of these, and I can attest to the fact that it holds an entire bottle of wine. Got it as a gift. What can I tell you? And then literally, at what point of the day does your coffee glass turn into your wine mug? But see, I got coffee in the front, wine in the back. That's what I've got. But there's no wine in it. It's just sparkling water. But see, you can have 2 in 1. That's what I have. All right. So the opposite of being busy and exhausted is feeling more alive. And as nurses, what I'd like you to consider is how can I, moving forward, do things that will help me feel more alive? And I mean, in your skin, literally in your body. Like, so you go, oh man, I haven't felt this good. Like, when will that be? And I can't, I don't have the answer either, but we can start to take steps towards getting there is what I'm trying to say here. So what I want you to do, just on a piece of paper, I want you to rank these 4 areas of your life. You're going to rank them out of 10. It's just going to be a quick snapshot of how alive you're feeling right now in these 4 parts of your life. And I get it. It's a small snapshot of you. And at the end, if you want, I'm going to give you a copy of Breaking Busy, an electronic copy for free. And what will come with it also is a live audit that's way more robust. And then you can do a bit more of an in-depth dive if you want to. And also one for your workplace too. And you could do one with your team if you want it. Okay, so rate each of these areas. Let's talk about relationships, right? If you want to live the longevity race, people who live the longest and all the blue zones on the planet have really strong relationships of all sorts. They're around people, they nurture those relationships. So think about the ones that are significant in your life, family, friends, people who you work with, you work tight with, people that matter to you. And some are probably rocking it and some might be on the rocks right now. But give yourself a number out of 10. Moving across to the top right, physical activity. Are you consistently moving your body? And I get it, you're moving your body, especially if you're working, you're on your feet all day, or how much are you sitting? Is physical activity a part of who you are? And it doesn't matter how you move your body. That's not the point right now. The point is getting oxygen in your blood system moving through your body daily. Bottom left, your work, your careers. Do you love what you do? Do you loathe what you do? Are you counting the days? Are you retiring early? Are you staying for the long haul? What's going on? Is it challenging you? I mean, somebody said the best thing about being in nursing is lifelong learning. Oh, look, I should have kept my dog in the house. Right? How's that? What's it working? What's your work like for you? Are you looking to change careers? Are you going back to school? I would love to have that conversation. I would love to know, even from a union's point of view, how are your members feeling about their work after this year? Because I know exhausted, but what part of it do you want to keep? What part of it can you just burn? Okay, and then moving across to the bottom right, mindfulness / spirituality. Do you take any time, I will say in a week, it should be in a day, but I'll say in a week, to just get quiet enough to hear yourself think, however you might do that. Okay, it could be in prayer, it could be meditation, it could be soaking in the tub, it could just be going for a walk outside in nature, just to hear yourself think. Okay, so add them up, use your phones if you have to, and I want you in the chat. I want you in the chat to tell me what your totals are. And don't be judgy on yourself, and don't be judgy on other people, just put your numbers down, and I'll tell you what the numbers mean. Yeah, so 24, 12, 20, 26. Keep going. I want to see everybody's. Don't worry if you don't go, oh my gosh, mine's low, it's lower than somebody else's. No, don't worry about any of that. Just notice if you get judgy on yourself, just notice that. I always say, notice what you notice about yourself. I'm looking up because I'm looking at the chat. I've got it in my monitor up above me. 26. Okay. So if you scored, nobody did yet or has under 10, obviously, this is a time for you to say, okay, what can I do to move one of these forward? because that's what I'm going to ask you to think about. If you averages, by the way, across the board, across everybody, pre-COVID and post-COVID, averages across the board, 18 to 21, that's averages across the board in every industry, in every profession. People who score sort of the 20 to 30 or upper 20s probably need just put some time and attention to one of these. And people who score over 30, which is very rare, you get a few who scored. Oh, by the way, the turf managers, they were scoring over 30. Go figure, because we all got to get into golf courses. But if you scored over 30, people who score high in this area live life very intentionally. They have consistent practices and processes that they do every day. They know before their feet hit the floor when they wake up, how they're going to start their day, whether that day is on a shift or that day starts in the morning. But they know how they're going to start their day to set themselves up to have the best day they possibly can, right? They don't just get out of bed and do the racquetball game of life and just hit the ball. Wherever the ball's bouncing, they're hitting the ball. They mindfully and intentionally start their day, whatever that looks like. Could be take your dog for a walk. It could be have a cup of coffee and just enjoy it. Could be read a little bit, could be some yoga, could be meditation, doesn't matter. But they start their day consistently because it sets them up. They also end their day consistently because it allows them to unwind before they fall asleep, right? Now, I've been reading a couple of books, and a great practice that I started probably 6 months ago now is 3 questions in the morning. Just simple, takes me 2 minutes. And here they are. Here's the first question. Today, I'm grateful for, okay? And it doesn't, and by the way, it's not even the thing that you're grateful for, but I'll get to that in just a bit. It's not even the thing you're grateful for. Today, I will let go of, okay, whatever that is. Can be big, can be small, just something. And today, I will focus on. Both Bill Gates, God, he's getting a divorce. Can you believe that? Both Bill Gates and, well, what's his name? What's his best buddy? Who's most, I can't think of what his name is now. Patterson. Anyways, they said, what's your key to success? Focus. So today, what will you focus on? And so when we go back to this, I'm kind of jumping. When we go back to this, I want you to focus on one of these areas that you know needs some time and attention right now. And I want you to focus on the one that will give you the biggest return for your effort right now, not your efforts after our second vaccinations. I mean, mind you, probably all nurses probably have your second vaccination. But so what's one of these areas? And I want you to put that in the chat. And the reason I keep saying put it in the chat is because when you make it real and you post it, you have a higher chance that you're actually going to do something about it. So don't just say mindfulness. Say, I'm going to, what are you going to do about mindfulness? What are you going to do about moving your body more? What are you going to do? Like make a phone call. And I want you to put it in the chat. And if you want to private message me, you can. You know, like today I'm going to fool around with my spouse, you know, just kidding. Boost that relationship. It's Thursday. Hey, it's the best day of the week. I think I have to bring out my wine mug again. It is just bubbly though. Until I'm off the call. I can't be the only one who likes wine. Okay, in the chat. Okay, so focus on mindfulness. What I want you, Helen, I want you to think specifically. What does that mean to you? Like, because you got to get specific. Okay, so come on.
I always focus on, I can't be left alone with my own thoughts. So I should be left alone with my own thoughts.
You know what meditation actually is? I'm just going to divert here for a second. What meditation actually is you know, just I could just be focused on, I look at my window right here and I've got my garden in front of me. I could just be looking at my garden, right? And when my mind goes to, oh my gosh, I got to cut the grass. No. So what meditation, what the practice is pulling my thoughts back to the nothingness, right? So if you're just focusing on breathing, just what it feels like just to breathe, and your mind goes, it's just bringing it back. That's what practicing meditation is just bringing your mind back to the nothingness. it's not just being in nothingness. None of us are very good at it, except for the yogis who've been doing it for forever. I want to ride my bike 3 times a week. That's right. That's what I said. So me, I'm a minimum 6,000 to 8,000 steps a day person. I keep track. That's what I'm. So I want you to be specific about it. Now, when we're done here today, which will be not too far, not too long from now, we're done here today. Excuse me. I want you to not overthink this, and I want you to go and do it directly. Now, some of you have this caucus meeting because I've heard that. But I want you to actually act on it, because we are only who we are sitting here today because of our habits. We are exactly who we are because of our habits. And the thing is that life is only about physics. So if you act on one of these things, these areas today that will give you the biggest bang for your buck, so spend more time with your family, you act on it today, you'll probably do it again tomorrow, maybe the day after that, or maybe a couple days down the road. But if you push it off to tomorrow, then you'll push it off to Saturday, and then you'll push it off to Monday. That's how our habits are. So I want you to, whatever you've said to yourself, you know this already in your gut. I just want you to get it out of your heads. I keep saying this, get it down on paper and tell somebody. All right, so the only thing worse than not feeling fully alive is pretending that we are. You know, and that's a beautiful thing about being a part of your union, is that we need to, like, we, the public, needed to see. I apologize, I got a cold for 3 weeks. It just won't go away. This is my biggest nightmare. I once had a coughing fit. Excuse me. I know they're not called Nurses Aids anymore, but it was a Nurses Aids conference in Edmonton. Coughing fit. I couldn't stop. I'm on stage. I couldn't stop. So I called my mom, and she's still left. She goes, "The nurses, they'll forgive you." That's what my mom said. So sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. I always say when you apologize for no good reason, you have to take a drink. It is okay to not be okay. And you have to, I don't know if you're perfectionistic, and you know if you are, you need to really let yourself off the hook. Really let yourself off the hook. Okay. So let's talk about moving forward. Let's talk about this summer. You know, it's a time that we treasure. We treasure our summers, and as Canadians, you know, it's a big deal. That's why everybody's in a panic mode. Will we be able to actually expand and get out more? That we're in a panic mode, thinking this should have been done. You know, we should have been through this. We all thought we were going to be through this January 1st. Yay. And then it's like, again. And then, But when's the last time you did something for the first time? What I want you to think about is, how old are your stories? You know, the stories that we tell, the stories that we connect with our friends, right? If our stories are older than a year, so forget COVID. Yes, it's a new story. It's a repeat. It's a Groundhog Day story. But when's the last time you dared yourself? You scared yourself. You pushed yourself. Something different, a new story. And this saying, when was the last time you did something for the first time, is like a hallmark quote that I've been quoted on more than anything else in my entire career, for probably most of 3/4 of the last 3 decades. But the truth is, for the longest time, I hadn't done much. And again, full on hypocrite, telling everybody else, create new stories. I mean, I get to travel lots. I don't mean that. That's for work. I mean, things that scared you. And I'd become this crazy woman. And I said to myself, I've got to change something. And within a day or two, I saw this movie. I was at another hotel. I watched this movie, The Way. And now, if you've seen this movie with Martin Sheen, it's amazing. It's beautiful. And it's about the Camino. And it's and what's so inspiring to me is, okay, this is rude. I have to put a cough drop in my mouth. Okay, don't pay me. Anyway, and I said, oh my gosh, if you can wine teach your way across Spain, I'm going to do this walk. I'm going to walk. I can take a month off and walk across Spain, 800 kilometers. And I had 3 goals. First goal is I was hoping I was going to meet a new friend. I was 55 years old at the time. And I went in the month of March. I should have researched that nobody walks the Camino in the month of March because it's the rainiest and snowiest time of year for them. I never researched that either. And so basically I walked for days and days and days and days and days and days without ever talking to anyone. So no, I never met anyone, so I never made a friend. I was thinking, hey, I'm walking 20 to 40 K a day. I'd like to lose a pound. Well, I was so mad and angry the whole time because it was snowing and I never met anybody, that my cortisol levels were so high, I never dropped a pound. Well, also wine costs $1 a bottle. So yeah, I never dropped a pound either. And number 3, I was hoping, because my voice in my head, which will beat me up tons after this because I'm coughing, I was hoping that I'd like myself more by the end of it. And that one actually took way longer than I expected it to. But yes, so I headed out and it rained and it snowed and it rained and it snowed and it rained and it snowed. And at one point I said, okay, Linda, you're a motivational speaker, for God's sake, be grateful for something. So I was grateful I bought Gore-Tex boots because they're waterproof, right? Which means they also don't breathe, which eventually I lost all my toenails. The blisters were so bad. And but that's also great, by the way, because when you get to the boring part of the Camino trail, the pain from your feet distracts you from how bored you are. And my biggest fear always as a traveler is, where am I going to go to the bathroom? Apparently anywhere I wanted to go to the bathroom, because there was nobody there. And I didn't need trees. I didn't need a bush or a bale of hay to hide behind. And so then I took the cheaper therapy approach, which was the $1.19 bottles of wine, which is still pretty good because it's Spanish wine. And it's even cheaper than that. It's free. And, you know, when you're still soaking wet from the day before and you get up in the morning and the wine, this wine is actually not that great. It's free coming out of the wineries. And I'm like, do I put it in my water bottle or I drink it straight out of the cup? Who cares? My mom would say, oh, Linda, just put a little ginger ale in it, make it a sangria. I'm like, okay, good idea, Mom. Anyways, by the time I hit Santiago, 35 days later, it's a big deal if you've seen the movie. Like, it's hugs, it is tears. I haven't seen anybody. I am so lonely that I'd never experienced this. I do alone pretty good. I was so lonely that it was painful in my body. And I went, wow. And then I started thinking about people who, you know, I've got, that was many, we all do, great people in our lives. I couldn't believe it. But anyways, but by the time I hit Santiago in front of the church, there was not a soul there. So I took another selfie, high-fived myself, went and bought another bottle of dollar wine and celebrated all by myself. And literally the day after, the sun came out and it stayed out. I watched the weather patterns. I was so mad. Basically, I missed the point completely. And I was bitching, pardon me, to a colleague of mine, and he gave me this one. He goes, Linda, I tell all my students this: first the work, then the lessons. You've done the work. You haven't figured out the lesson. Took me probably another year and a half, 18 months before I actually figured out, why did I just do that? I have no idea why I just did that. So I'm going to show you, I mean, you've seen this change cycle before. First the work, then the lessons. COVID's been the work. And then you're working through the work. But what most of us are actually doing, your patients, everybody right now, like, we just are up, we're down. We started out lost at sea. Then you can kind of see the land on the horizon, but we're not sure if we want to get out of the boat yet. That's how most people are still feeling. And then we get a shot, and then we get uncomfortable, and then we cycle through the first 3 stages over and over and over. So again, I want to repeat this back to you in your personal life, you as a human being. Whatever work you're in right now, home, relationships, physical, you know, your own mental health, lean into it. It's not easy. It's easy to say, it's not easy. As a person who has leaned into the mirror a few times, it isn't always pretty, I'll tell you that much. But if you can lean into the discomfort of the work, you can get to a place that is called discovery. Now in discovery, this is when you start having conversations with people who are kind of maybe feeling the same way you are, have read something that's quite inspiring, or there's some resource that's really helped them, or see, those things have always been there, but you don't do that. You don't find that out until you've leaned in. And if we can do that, we'll come through this in the next 3 to 6 months. Let's say 2 months, 2 to 6 months. Cross your fingers. Already have through the work. And we don't have to do it then and totally fall, you know, burnt out. So I'm going to give you some quick tips before I have to wrap this up on resilience. You know most of this. I'm just going to highlight it, high level. Write the ones down that mean anything to you, that you think need time and attention. I've said this already. Moving our bodies is not an option. Moving our bodies outside in nature is critical for physical and mental well-being. That's proven research. 20 minutes is the key, minimum 20 minutes. Number 2, sleep. Now I know you've done clinics after clinics after clinics. Sleep and nurses, well, how does that work? I don't know. But you need to set yourself up for good quality sleep, for restorative sleep. How you do that is you have to sleep in a very cool room. It's spring, open your windows. It's got to be a cool room. You work your butts off. You deserve good linen. That's not part of the formula, but you deserve good linen. Treat yourself to some good linen. All right, you need to sleep in a very quiet room and a very dark room. And you need to sleep naked, part of the formula. Because I guess the clothes or whatever. And if if you put down the relationship thing, maybe it'll help that too, who knows. Number 3, nutrition. Fuel your body with some good food. Think about it as fueling. Have a focus, maybe 1 or 2 days a week of fueling your body versus just eating food that's in front of you. Fuel it. Fuel it for healing. I'm not a nutritionist, but just we need to eat more veg and fruit. That's a bottom line, to be honest with you. Laughter. This is critical right now more than ever. Now, not that this picture is funny, but I took this photo when first time I ever went to Nepal. Now, I have a charity that I started 15 years ago, rescuing girls out of child labor and putting them in school. And the first time I went, I took this picture because I was coming home after my trip there and I was speaking to Ontario Hydro. So I thought they would think, oh, this is a great power pole, right? And then I took my sister back a couple of years ago, and we go back every year, but not, well, it's last year. But a couple of years ago, I took this picture. Like, look at that. And people go, where's my Wi-Fi? I don't know. Frick. I mean, it's chaos. If you've ever been to a developing country, it's absolute chaos. It's craziness. I love it there. And what's funny is they always advertise hot showers, especially for trekking. We have hot showers. We have hot showers. I've never seen hot water once. I've been there 15 years. And then my sister and I walk into a tea house, and this is the front cover of the tea house menu. You can get a hot shower here, Wi-Fi, and an STD. And I went, wow, they serve up everything at this restaurant. See, I think that's hilarious. My sister's kind of conservative. She's shushing me, shh, Linda. And I said, but look, you can also get an international STD here too. And I said, well, if I'm getting an international STD, I better be an international one because I don't want to get a domestic one. Sorry, that's just rude. But God's got a sense of humor. Honk if you love Jesus, text while driving if you want to meet him. Right? This sign I took driving down Glenmore here in Kelowna. But Norma, who works in the office here, she didn't know what it meant. Staying in bed shouting, oh, God's not the same as going to church. It made me laugh. Maybe that church sign lasted 10 minutes. I drove to London Drugs. By the time I got back, gone. All right. Another resiliency tool, clarity. What do you really want? You know what you want. We don't always want to admit we know what we want, because if we admit it, we have to do something about it. See, when you know what you want, you can say no to what you don't want. So we need the clarity, and clarity takes decluttering. Physical, mental, emotional. Clarity. Take some stuff off your plate. The reason we keep piling all this stuff on our proverbial plates is because if it's so much stuff on it, we don't have to deal with what's on the other side of the plate because you can't see it. So intentionally create spaces to just be. I actually, I walked the Camino, I never lost not a pound. And I came home and I decided I'm going to actually become more mindful. And I love hiking almost every day, 6 days a week for sure. Is that I just did that to actually take the stuff out of my head. And when I did that, I physically felt cortisol stress levels lower in my body. And then of course, if you're a woman over 45, you can't lose a pound unless you lower cortisol. Another essential for resiliency, we need to do something outside of ourselves. Now, I know your entire careers are based on giving. So do something for yourself, and I call it choosing a slice of the planet, right? Do something where no one has to ever repay you for it, because it's more for you than it actually is for them. This is the kindness piece. So I just happened to choose Nepal. Why? Because my girlfriend was a teacher who was working there, and she said, Linda, she asked me a favor. You speak all the time. If I give you a bag of scarves from Nepal and you sell them, maybe we can raise a few $100s. Maybe we can buy a couple of girls out of bonded labor. Well, 15 years later, thousands and thousands and thousands of girls later, and thousands of their mothers. Mothers groups, we have classrooms. My husband's just taken up the whole classrooms for a cause, vocational centers, healthcare programs, leadership. It's just amazing what we've done. So that's my sister and I, and these ladies that sew our scarves now. And when we were there that same year, Prince Harry was in Nepal. And I said, wouldn't it be great if he dropped into Unico House? Unico House is our vocational center, and buy a scarf. I said, but I actually just, he was in Nepal, but I just, photoshopped him in, put it on Facebook, and people still think he was there. I'm going, oh, I haven't got the heart to tell him. anyways, the word empowerment is overused, but truthfully, the only way we'll ever eradicate poverty on the planet is through education. Like these ladies wouldn't, that's the most liberal picture you'll ever see of these. They're Hindu culture, very conservative. And even things like domestic violence has dropped just because they've formed, just because they've come together, these mothers groups to support each other. They have hauled some of these terrible husbands out on their ears and had them arrested. Anyways, that's the cool, to me, that's the cool part. Education is empowerment. And so if you would like an electronic copy of Breaking Busy, it's free. Just go to lindaedgecombe.com and it'll just download it. It comes in whatever format you're a reader. You like to read your programs in. Anyway, it's kind of wrap this up. So are you happy? Do you want to be happy? So Laurie Santos from the University of Yale, Yale University, she created this, course for first-year students, and so many. It's called the Psychology of Well-Being, and she's done this research of what happy people do consistently that unhappy people don't do. Happy people carve time for themselves every day. You have to carve it. You have to schedule it. It's not going to carve itself. That's an absolute. Happy people practice thinking about and writing things down that they're grateful for. And again, it's not the thing you're grateful for. It's in the searching for the thing you're grateful for that you get the chemicals and the endorphins in your system. And have people do kind things for others daily. Smile, say good morning, buy someone a tea, anything. It can be the big thing, give somebody $20, whatever, a giant thing, and maybe just do some kind things for yourselves. I mean, it is Nurses Week, celebrating Nurses Week. And if you're all exhausted, which most of you said you were, tired, exhausted, worried, do some kind things for yourself and drop the guilt. And bonus, I said this already, bonus points if you can do any or all of it outside of nature. Even if it's a few days a week, that in itself will make this summer just spectacular and will re-energize you for doing the hard flipping lifting that you've been doing every day for the last, for forever in your careers. But so where do you begin when you're in a state of overwhelm? Just like it says, it's okay, Stan, just pick one flower and start there, right? Pick your desk, start there. Pick your purse, start there. How about your car? Start there. One box, start there. Take one thing, make one phone call, just start there and allow physics, which it will, inertia, to take over. And I just want to finish with this, of course, thank you. But I found this online, I love it. It's just a fantastic nurses. Looks like it's watercolor, but maybe it's not, but it's just spectacular. I just think it's great. So thank you for allowing me just to yell at you and cough on you. And it's terrible. I'm gonna feel so much guilt later. I'll have to talk myself down. But we've got a couple minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Take yourself off mute if you do. No? Okay, Ken, do you want to wrap it up?
After I find the unmute button, absolutely. The only thing I'm going to say, thank you very much, Linda. That was great. I definitely agree with you. The outdoor stuff is so much better. People who know me know I love to race obstacle courses, and that being outside doing physical exertion is my way. And absolutely, it's so much better than being indoors. Yep. Just enjoying the fresh air. 100% agree with you. Being outdoors is the best thing to do. So thank you very much for this. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you everybody for attending. We will be sending this out to the membership at Local 121 so that people can enjoy it in their own time. And if you have any questions, please get a hold of the local.
Thank you. Have a great summer.
All right. Take care, everybody.